Maya Williams adjusted her designer sunglasses as she stepped out of the upscale photography studio in downtown Manhattan. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the busy street, and she felt the familiar weight of exhaustion after a 12-hour fashion shoot. Her long braids swayed gently as she walked, her elegant frame moving with a grace that came naturally after years of modeling. She had just finished a campaign for a major luxury brand, and all she wanted was to get home to her apartment, slip out of her heels, and practice her kata in the privacy of her living room. Few people knew that beneath the glamorous exterior of Maya Williams, international model, lived the disciplined soul of a martial artist who had been training in Shotokan karate since she was 8 years old. As she made her way down Fifth Avenue, her phone buzzed with congratulatory messages from her agent about the successful shoot. Maya smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear as she read the texts. The clicking of her heels on the pavement created a rhythmic soundtrack to her thoughts about the upcoming tournament she was secretly preparing for. "Hey beautiful, were you going so fast?" The voice came from behind her, gruff and demanding. Maya didn't turn around, having learned long ago to ignore such comments. She quickened her pace slightly, her trained senses immediately alert to potential danger. "I'm talking to you, sweetheart. Don't be rude." This time the voice was closer, and Maya could hear multiple footsteps behind her. She glanced at the reflection in a store window and saw 3 men following her, their intentions clearly not innocent. The street, which had been bustling moments before, seemed suddenly empty in this particular block. "Listen, I'm not interested," Maya said firmly, still walking. "Please leave me alone." "Ah, come on now. A pretty thing like you shouldn't be walking alone." "Let us keep you company," said another voice, this one with a mocking tone that made Maya's skin crawl. They were getting bolder, closer. Maya could feel her heart rate increase, but not from fear, from the familiar preparation her body underwent before a fight. Her sensei had always taught her that the best fights were the ones you never had to have, but sometimes the world didn't give you that choice. "We just want to talk, beautiful. Maybe get to know you better," the first man said, now close enough that Maya could smell the alcohol on his breath. Maya stopped walking and slowly turned around. The 3 men were exactly what she had expected, predators who thought her elegant appearance and designer clothes made her an easy target. They looked to be in their 20s and 30s, with the kind of swagger that came from never having faced real consequences for their actions. "I asked you politely to leave me alone," Maya said, her voice calm but with an edge that should have warned them. "I'm asking one more time." The tallest of the 3, apparently their leader, laughed. "Or what, princess? You gonna call your daddy?" His friends chuckled, moving to flank her. Maya assessed the situation with the clinical detachment her years of training had taught her. 3 opponents, the leader about 6'2" and stocky, the one on her left shorter but more muscular, the third one lanky with nervous energy. They were expecting an easy victim. They had no idea they were about to meet Maya Williams, 3rd-degree black belt and 3-time national champion. "Look, guys," Maya said, setting down her designer purse carefully and slipping off her sunglasses. "I really don't want any trouble. I've had a long day, and I just want to go home." "Too bad," the leader sneered, reaching out to grab her arm. "We've decided you're coming with us." That was when Maya's other life kicked in. The leader's hand never made contact. Maya's response was lightning fast and precise. She stepped back into a defensive stance, caught his wrist with her left hand, and delivered a sharp palm strike to his solar plexus with her right. The man doubled over, gasping for air, completely unprepared for the controlled violence that had just hit him. "What the hell?" the muscular one started to say, but Maya was already moving. She pivoted on her back foot, her expensive heels clicking against the pavement as she delivered a perfect side kick to his midsection. The months of practicing in heels, something her sensei had insisted on after she mentioned her modeling career, paid off perfectly. The man stumbled backward, crashed into a parked car, and slumped to the ground. The lanky third man stood frozen, his brain trying to process what he was seeing. This elegant woman in designer clothes and perfect makeup had just dropped 2 of his friends in less than 10 seconds. "I suggest you help your friends and leave," Maya said calmly, straightening her jacket. "I really don't want to hurt anyone else today." But the leader, despite still struggling to breathe, was apparently too proud or too stupid to quit. He straightened up with rage in his eyes. "You little," Maya sighed. She had hoped he would be smarter. As he lunged at her, Maya stepped to the side, grabbed his extended arm, and used his own momentum to send him face first into the brick wall of the building beside them. The sound of the impact echoed down the street, and the man crumpled to the ground, unconscious. The lanky one finally found his voice. "You're crazy, lady." "No," Maya said, picking up her purse and putting her sunglasses back on. "I'm trained. There's a difference." She pulled out her phone and took a quick photo of the 3 men. "I'm sending this to the police. If I see any of you again, or if you try this with anyone else, I'll make sure they know exactly who you are." As sirens wailed in the distance, apparently someone had called the police after hearing the commotion. Maya looked down at her attackers with something between pity and disgust. "You know what the saddest part is," she said to the conscious one who was helping his muscular friend stand up. "You saw a woman alone and thought that made her weak. You never considered that maybe she was alone because she didn't need anyone else to protect her." The police arrived moments later, and Maya calmly explained what had happened. The officers, initially skeptical, quickly changed their tune when they saw the security camera footage from the building across the street and heard testimonies from witnesses who had emerged after the danger passed. As she gave her statement, one of the younger officers couldn't help but ask, "Ma'am, where did you learn to fight like that?" Maya smiled, the first genuine smile she'd had since leaving the studio. "Miyamoto Dojo in Brooklyn. I've been training there for 20 years. 20 years? The officer looked shocked. "But you're so young? Pretty? Well-dressed?" Maya finished for him. "Officer, some of us have been fighting our whole lives. We just don't all look the way you expect fighters to look." Later that evening, Maya sat in her apartment, having finally changed out of her modeling clothes into her GI. She moved through her kata slowly, each movement a meditation on the day's events. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages. Word had gotten out about the incident, and her agent was fielding calls from news outlets wanting to interview the model who fought back. But Maya wasn't interested in the publicity. She had never wanted her two worlds to collide, preferring to keep her martial arts life separate from her modeling career. Today had forced that collision, but as she moved through the familiar forms, she realized she wasn't upset about it. For too long, she had compartmentalized herself, Maya the model, Maya the fighter, as if these two parts of her identity couldn't coexist. Today had shown her that she didn't have to choose between strength and beauty, between grace and power. She was all of these things, and they made her whole. The next morning, Maya's story had gone viral. The security camera footage, combined with witness accounts, had turned her into an overnight sensation. But it wasn't just the fighting that people were talking about, it was what she represented. She looked like she stepped off a magazine cover, one witness told a news reporter. But she handled herself like a professional fighter. It was incredible to watch. Maya's phone rang constantly with interview requests, endorsement offers, and invitations to appear on talk shows. Her modeling agency was thrilled, but Maya found herself most interested in the calls from young women who wanted to know where they could learn to defend themselves. That afternoon, she found herself back at Miyamoto Dojo, the place that had been her second home for 2 decades. Sensei Takeshi Miyamoto, a 70-year-old Japanese man who had seen her grow from a scared 8-year-old into a confident woman, greeted her with his usual stoic nod. "So," he said in his accented English, "the world now knows who you really are." Maya bowed respectfully. "I never wanted the attention, Sensei. But you have it now. What will you do with it?" That question stayed with her as she went through her training, sparring with students who had watched the viral video but still respected her enough to give their best effort. As she faced each opponent, Maya realized that her sensei was right. She had a platform now, whether she wanted it or not. The answer came to her as she was leaving the dojo that evening. A young black girl, maybe 10 years old, was waiting outside with her mother. "Excuse me," the mother said nervously. "Are you Maya Williams? The model who, you know?" Maya knelt down to the girl's eye level. "What's your name, sweetie?" "Jasmine," the girl whispered, then found her voice. "I saw you on TV. You were so cool. Can you really teach me to fight like that?" Maya looked up at the mother, who nodded hopefully. "Jasmine's been asking about martial arts classes since she saw the news. She says she wants to be strong like you." "Strong like me?" Maya repeated, touched by the girl's words. "Yeah," Jasmine said, her confidence growing. "My mom says you're beautiful and strong. I didn't know you could be both." That night, Maya made her decision. She would embrace both sides of her identity publicly, using her platform to show young women, especially young women of color, that they didn't have to choose between being feminine and being powerful. Within a month, Maya had partnered with her dojo to start a program called Strong and Beautiful, offering self-defense classes specifically for young women. She also began speaking at schools, sharing her story and encouraging girls to pursue whatever made them feel strong and confident, whether that was martial arts, academics, sports, or the arts. The program grew rapidly, with dojos across the country reaching out to start their own chapters. Maya found herself busier than ever, balancing her modeling career with her new role as an advocate and teacher. But the moment that made it all worthwhile came 6 months later, during a Strong and Beautiful graduation ceremony. Jasmine, now a yellow belt, was demonstrating a basic kata for her family and friends. When she finished, she looked directly at Maya and said, "Thank you for showing me that I can be anything I want to be." Maya smiled, adjusting her own black belt around her GI. She had spent years hiding parts of herself, thinking she had to be one thing or another. That day on Fifth Avenue had taught her the most important lesson of all. She was exactly who she was supposed to be, in all her complexity. And that evening, as she practiced her forms in the dojo, Maya Williams, model, fighter, teacher, and role model, felt more like herself than she ever had before. The three men who had attacked her? They eventually learned her name from the news coverage, along with her credentials and her 15-year winning streak in tournament competition. The lanky one later told reporters that it was the most embarrassing moment of his life, and he had started taking self-defense classes himself, not to hurt people, but to understand the discipline and respect that Maya embodied. She could have really hurt us, he admitted in a local news interview months later, but she used just enough force to stop us. That's when I realized we weren't dealing with just someone who could fight, we were dealing with someone who had real control, real discipline. That scared me more than the fighting did. Maya's story became more than just a viral video about a woman defending herself. It became a testament to the complexity of human identity, the power of preparation meeting opportunity, and the importance of never judging anyone by their appearance. But for Maya herself, the most important part wasn't the fame or the teaching opportunities or the positive impact she was having on young women. Though all of those mattered to her deeply, the most important part was that she no longer had to hide who she was. She could be a model and a martial artist, elegant and fierce, beautiful and dangerous, all at the same time. And every morning when she looked in the mirror, she saw not two different people trying to coexist, but one complete person who had finally learned to embrace all of herself. That was the real victory.